Hello, everybody. This is Appa Brian with Appa Baseball Classics, bringing to you week 2 of the NFL picks. We won't talk about week 1. If we brought a big coin to flip, we probably would have done better.
I think so.
Justin did fine. He was 9. He won 9 games, 9-7.
Impressive.
I was 8-8, and you were 7-9. A lot of things were close, but it didn't go well. All right, for our subscribers, once again, we're joined by Dan Mattingly, my son-in-law, and we are also doing picks with my son, Justin. He works nights, so he cannot meet. He sleeps during this time of day, so we'll add his picks on some way, shape, or form like we did last week. We're going to take the games in order and start with a Thursday night game, the New York Giants at the Washington football team.
I like the Washington football team. Didn't see a lot from the Giants week 1 as expected. I still think that Daniel Jones he's shaky. He's a tough one to watch. And that defense for Washington was great against the Chargers. They just couldn't put up the points.
Washington has allowed 20 or fewer points 7 straight weeks. Montez Sweat did get handled by a rookie offensive tackle, but he's a good player. He'll have better days. I am also picking Washington. Daniel Jones fumbled again, like he turns the ball over like we thought he did, and he was true to form. He's got some talent, has some arm talent, but the fumbles and turnovers are a problem. Next game is the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Last week I had the face mask on upside down for the Jets, and some of them got their face masks knocked upside down during the game, probably.
Yeah, they had a tough time, but they rallied nicely in that second half. I think if New England can eliminate the fumbles, which I'm sure will be a focus for Bill Belichick this week, the Patriots are a more talented team. I liked what I saw from their defense and Mac Jones. I think with the 2 tight end sets that they're running out of and Aguilar over the top, they should beat the Jets.
Both teams lost their left tackle. Trent Brown went out in the first quarter. And I think Becton is the name of the Jets tackle that went out. And I don't know the status on Trent Brown, but Becton will not be back for a while. Vance Wilson had a good game. Of the 3 rookies, he did, I think, play the best, but there's not a lot around him. So I'm also picking the New England Patriots to win, I think, fairly easily in that game. Next game is the Denver Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I like the Broncos. They looked very solid in week 1. I like the AFC West in general. There's between the AFC and NFC West, the West Coast is pretty strong out there in terms of football talent. I think the Broncos should win easily.
They did lose Jerry Jeudy, but Teddy Bridgewater was on fire, and he looks like he's going to be quite an asset for that team. And Melvin Gordon, that they got from San Diego, is a strong player as well. Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The interception part, I'm sure will get better, but he's going to have some growing pains along the way. I'm picking the Broncos easily. Okay, next game is the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins.
This is a tough game for me. I think Buffalo is the better team. I think with the amount of quality defensive linemen they have that they can rotate, they should be able to get a good rush on Tua. And Tua, he can't play quarterback when he's under pressure. Some guys can, some guys can't. I haven't seen it from him yet. And I do like the Dolphins defense, but I think Josh Allen and the Bills win in this one.
Got you down, Buffalo. I watched the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game. It was quite a game last Sunday. And Buffalo, I thought they would try to be more physical, and they were more physical. They were very physical, and their tackling was very sharp, way sharper than the Chiefs tackling. They got people down off their feet fast and hit them hard. Yeah, kind of a rough start against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh is very good. I think Pittsburgh's actually better than Miami. So I am choosing the Buffalo Bills to beat the Dolphins. Miami's defense is fast and good. Its game is in Miami, but I'm still going with the Buffalo Bills. More injuries in this next game. San Francisco 49ers will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles.
So this is another maybe good game. Both teams looked fantastic, especially early for the Niners. They kind of let Detroit back in it as it went along. At this point, I never thought I would say this, but I think I'd rather have Jalen Hurts than Tua for my quarterback. He looked fantastic in week 1. Maybe he keeps it up. They've got a good little short passing game that unlocks some deep throws, and he's great with his legs. But I think the Niners are too talented for the Eagles. The Eagles, I think I read they have about 30 million in dead cap this season. That's a lot of money that they could have spent on assets to make the team better. I think the Eagles come back down to earth.
The Eagles started well, much better than I thought they would last week. They're tied for first place. Everybody in that division lost. But the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is the kind of quarterback they need. They don't have a great offensive line, in my opinion. San Francisco suffered 2 significant injuries. They lost Jarrett, the cornerback, and Mostert was injured.
He's injured every year.
Yeah. Is Troy Sermon the next option there?
Yeah, Sermon would be next. And they got a good game out of their rookie. Let me look him up.
San Francisco's team is overall more talented than the Philadelphia Eagles, and most NFL people believe that the NFC West is the strongest division in football. You've already alluded to that. Way stronger than the league the Eagles are in. So I am also picking San Francisco. So far, if we go down this week, we're going down together. We have agreed on every pick.
That's scary. Oh boy. It is Elijah Mitchell was the running back that they ran him 19 times for 104 yards and a score.
Yeah, great day.
Yeah.
All right, next game is the Los Angeles Rams at the Indianapolis Colts.
I thought the Colts unlocked a lot of the worst in Carson Wentz. I think that the Rams are supremely talented. They may have the best offense we see this year, outside of potentially the Chiefs or possibly the Saints with what they showed us.
The Rams are going downfield again now deep, and they've not done that for a couple of years, but they took some long shots last week and were successful. So I think balance-wise, they're in a better position than they've been for a couple of years, and their offense is going to be very hard to stop. Indianapolis, I was thinking their defense was better than what I saw last week.
And they may get there.
No, they're not there yet. So I am thinking the LA Rams. Actually, I think the LA Rams and the LA Chargers are a couple of top 5 teams. I'm really high on both those teams. Of course, Tampa and Kansas City, I think, are top 5.
Oh yeah, they're up there.
Next game is Las Vegas at Pittsburgh.
So I love what the Steelers are on defense. If they can lock down Josh Allen, that was very impressive to see, to force a high power, high octane offense like that to kind of drag was pretty good. But I am very worried about Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't look like he could push the ball downfield very well. His communication with his receivers was not good. I like the Raiders. They had a thriller of a game last night with the Ravens that, of course, Brian came out on top on our picks when the Raiders came out with the victory. Darren Waller's a force, and their defensive line is as good as anyone's, the Raiders.
They were wound up last night. The Raiders were ready for opening their stadium with fans, and they took full advantage. Their wide receivers were good. I always like Josh Jacobs, but he does not look like he's 100%. But I do think the Raiders' wide receivers almost matched Pittsburgh's. Pittsburgh's defense is scrappy. I do have also concerns about Roethlisberger, as you do, but I am going to pick Pittsburgh to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. I think we're going to have a little bit of a letdown. They were really probably gearing up for that game, and
They look like it.
I look for them to have a little bit of a letdown. And Pittsburgh will be there to take advantage if they have a letdown. Cincinnati at Chicago.
I like Cincinnati, even though they're the visiting team. I think anyone can get a pretty good pass rush on that Bears offensive line. I think that the Bears secondary is a weak point for their defense. They're pretty strong up front, but Joe Burrow can, unlike Ben Roethlisberger, push the ball down the field. And with T. Higgins and how Jamar Chase looked, I think they'll look to do that and come out on top.
Yeah, Chase put down the naysayers. He caught the ball, and his college coach put out a message on Twitter that, yeah, he can catch the ball. I think for the Chicago Bears, the left tackle is 39 years old, and I think the left guard's 39 years old. And it's just the NFL's beyond them now. Yeah. So the sooner they get Justin Fields in, the better off they're going to be. But they're going to be quite stubborn about this, and I don't think Fields is going to get significant playing time until about the fourth week or so. He might get another. He got one drive last week. Maybe he'll get 2 drives this week. But until they start playing Justin Fields, who can get away from the rushers, I don't think they're going to win any games. They have a good defense, got great receivers, and the running backs, Montgomery. And
Montgomery was fantastic.
He's fantastic, and they've got our running back from the Super Bowl, Darwin Williams. Mm-hmm. He's on that team, and we know he's good. So they got the pieces, except for the offensive line.
And the quarterback is on the bench.
Quarterback's on the bench, and I think the jury's out on making rookies sit a year. There's been several rookies who did not sit a year. Of course, the most famous, Patrick Mahomes, sat a year, and it helped him. But there have been a lot of rookies who started their first year and have done well. So I think Chicago's making quite a mistake, and they're going to lose another game. I'm also picking Cincinnati. Next game is the Houston Texans at the Cleveland Browns.
Well, Houston surprised us last week.
Yes, they did.
I think they come back down to earth. I think that they're playing a Jacksonville team that, as you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence had the 3 picks. I think Baker, except at the end of that Chiefs-Browns game, he played a perfect game. He was fantastic.
He was on target.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball into very small windows. He was picking them apart, and that Nick Chubb is incredible. And to have Kareem Hunt backing him up, they can just they'll beat almost anyone. I think the Chiefs were lucky to get that win. If the punter hadn't dropped the ball, maybe we wouldn't say that. So I like the Browns, but congrats to the Texans on a big first win.
Yeah, I thought the Texans, I said last week, they're going to be hard pressed to win any games, but they showed me wrong. They played very well. Um, but the Texans are not the Chiefs level. And I think Cleveland will roll in this game. They did lose an offensive lineman, Ken Wallace. But, and I was confused last week that Teller is still a right guard. Treader is the center, or Treller. So
They're
Treller's the
close.
center, and 77 Teller is the right guard.
Okay.
And I still think he's one of the best guards, and their whole offensive line is just outstanding. They were just going through the Chiefs in the first half like butter.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what happened that the Chiefs shut them down in the second half, but the first half was the Cleveland Brown team I thought we were going to see. And other than those two mistakes, they would have won the game. So, yeah, I'm picking Cleveland to beat the Texans pretty easily. Next game is the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers.
So I have to take the Saints in this one. Their offense, it looked like it was unlocked. The Packers don't have a bad defense. They were missing, I believe, their star end, Zadarius Smith, but they still should stack up with just about anybody, and the Saints ran through them like they weren't there. I think that New Orleans has a fantastic defense, and I think the Panthers had trouble scoring against the Jets, and that's a pretty bad indicator of where you are as an offense. If you can't score on the Jets, you're probably not going to score on too many people.
Like you said last week, Alvin Kamara was going to be the best player on the field, and he was. He had an outstanding game. And overall, New Orleans rolled Green Bay. That game, we'll maybe talk more about when we get down to Green Bay, but it's hard to know what to think. I know the quarterback is not on the same page with the coaches, but he played the worst game of his life that I've ever seen him play. And not only did he play the worst game I've ever seen him play, he looked disinterested while he was doing it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk more about Green Bay when we get there. New Orleans, I agree, will roll over Carolina. I still like Christian McCaffrey. He's a special player, and I think McCaffrey can possibly keep it close. But I'm pretty confident New Orleans is going to win this. Next game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, so the Vikings were disappointing. I really thought they were going to be better week one. I don't know what they have in them as far as turning things around. But the Cardinals, I said last week that they have a great team on paper, and they proved to me that they have a great team on the field as well.
Pretty good on the grass.
Yeah, right. So yeah, they Kyler Murray before I guess the shoulder injury last season really affected my opinion of him, but he looks completely healthy. Of course, at the beginning of this year, accounted for, I think, 5 touchdowns. And I love their receivers. It looks like Christian Kirk has somehow rejuvenated his career, and we all know what they have with Hopkins. That defense, that I think it was Chandler Jones had 5 sacks.
Yeah.
They've got J.J. Watt looking like it's 3 or 4 years ago before he had all the injuries. They may contend for something at the end of this if they can keep Murray healthy.
Arizona's got some superstars that DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray, Chandler Jones, all 3 are elite players. And they look like they're going to put it together this year and have a very good season. Dalvin Cook was disappointing for Minnesota last week. At some point he'll get going, but I don't think it'll be this week. I think the Arizona Cardinals will beat the Minnesota Vikings. Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, I expected more out of the Falcons. I think that Matt Ryan looks like he's pretty close to done after that first week. I didn't like anything that I saw from their defense, and Tampa Bay's they're the class of this conference. I expect them to win easily.
Yeah, I also think Tampa will win easily. I was very disappointed in Atlanta's showing last week. They almost did not use Kyle Pitts at all. And I think he needs to be an integral part. They've got two great wide receivers, and then they got what potentially could be a great tight end, but they didn't do much with him at all. Maybe one catch or two catches. I don't know.
Yeah, the new coaching staff doesn't seem to know how to use the weapons they have.
Yeah. Tampa Bay, all the way. Next game is the Tennessee Titans at the Seattle Seahawks.
I expect Tennessee to look better this week, but I do not expect them to be able to beat the Seahawks team. Their defense looks improved, and I think that the offense, I'm seeing less of the forced 50-50 balls that we saw from Russell Wilson toward the end of last year in week one. He was taking shots downfield, but he was also hitting guys in the flats and on crossing routes, which is a big key for him. He was looking too much, I think, for the big play last year, and it caused them to stumble down the stretch to contend. I'm not sure what we have with Tennessee. I hope that they can bring it back, but I like Seattle this week.
Yeah, there may have been some COVID hangover. Vrabel was on the sideline, but nothing went well for Tennessee. Derrick Henry had like 9 yards in his first 8 carries.
Yeah.
So if Seattle can take a clue of how they stop Derrick Henry, they'll really help their cause. Seattle played better than I expected, and it looks like they're going to be a factor in the NFC West. So I'm picking Seattle to beat Tennessee. Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, this will be some fireworks. I think that the Cowboys will not stop anyone this year. Their defense is not very good. I think that they have a very talented but raw linebacker in Micah Parsons that they picked early in the draft. He did not look good against Tampa. Tom Brady really took it to him. He looked lost for most of that game. The defensive back, Diggs, Trevon Diggs, I believe is Stefan's brother. He shut down Mike Evans, and he might have been the best part of their defense week one. The Chargers, I think, have an edge in that department, but I do think that it will be a shootout, but I like the LA Chargers.
Yeah, this will be a high-scoring game. Micah Parsons was the prime target for the Tampa Bay offense, and he has physical talent, but he's got a lot to learn about defending the middle of the field. Up in the head. Dallas's offense was outstanding. The offensive line played great. Very good. It was a close game, and I was not expecting a close game with Tampa Bay. So Dallas may have made some strides. Still haven't seen it as much on defense. But I think the Chargers are very good. And I actually think the Chargers have been very good for a while. They just had a coach who couldn't win close games. And now I think they are going to be able to win those close games. Justin Herbert is almost on Mahomes' level. I would say he is right up there. So I've got Los Angeles Chargers also. So far, we've only differed on one pick.
Going down with this ship together.
Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. That's the Sunday night game.
So this is very different styles. I think Baltimore has a very good defense that really only has to shut down 2 players. If they can shut down Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, then they will win this game. But I've yet to see anybody do it. I have the Chiefs. I like this Ravens team. I thought their rushing attack was better than expected with the 2 running backs going down back to back. Lamar's decision-making and pocket presence looked good at times against the Raiders, but when it came down to crunch time, he really didn't have it. But it's a learned skill playing in the pocket, and he's making an effort to do so. So that's commendable, but I think the Chiefs win this one.
Yeah, I was surprised by Baltimore's effort and at running back. They lost 3 running backs. Yeah.
Jeez.
And I'm not a big fan of Le'Veon Bell, who they signed.
No.
The kid they put in there last week did fine. I think.
Yeah. I think he'll be their main back.
I hope so. I don't see Bell doing much.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell had a great game on defense. They've got a good defense. Tampa did shut down Tyreek Hill, in the Super Bowl. They didn't the first time they played, but the second time they played, they had a plan. They'll play 2 deep safeties like last team against us.
Mm-hmm.
And we still hit a bomb with them defending against the bomb. Although we don't try it as much. But in the second half, one thing I saw about the Chiefs game, we did run at the defensive ends. We started to run it. We didn't at all in the first half. And so we did run the ball a little bit. And I think that always helps to run at the defensive ends and help slow down their pass rush. So the offensive line was played pretty much as I expected they would for Kansas City. I think they're ready to go. They gave up, I think, 2 sacks.
2, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this week they'll only give up 1.
Maybe.
I hope
I
so.
think if Trent Brown doesn't forget to block the defensive end like he did with Myles Garrett that one time, we might only give up 1.
Myles Garrett made Trent Brown look slow on a couple plays, but Myles Garrett makes everybody look slow.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he is. He might be the defensive player of the year. Now we come to the most troubling game that I have been thinking about this week. Detroit at Green Bay. Good luck.
Yeah, I know. I know Green Bay has more talent. I know they're a better team. But the Lions played hard against San Francisco. They came back. I don't really feel like it was ever a game because San Fran was really just playing to run the clock, and it was a lot of garbage time points, in my opinion, from Jared Goff and his crew. But I mean, they put up 30 and the Packers put up 3. There's something in my soul that won't let me pick the Lions to win this game. I think Green Bay makes a better effort this week and pulls out a win.
Okay, Green Bay. It was hot down there when they were playing. It was in the 90s, and maybe they just wanted to get it over with and get out of there. And just
could be Jacksonville, not a fun place to be right now.
For that reason. And then I'm wondering too, with all the problems that Aaron Rodgers has had with his coach and the organization in general, number one, is he trying to stick it back to them because he doesn't really want to be there?
As a statement, sure.
Or is it curtains for Aaron Rodgers? I mean, at some point, you get Joe Namath at the Rams. They just lose it, and they are too old.
He did win the MVP last year, Brian.
He did win the MVP last year, but Namath was pretty good when he left the Jets. He was awful when he went to the Rams.
Yeah.
at the end of his career. And it's just like you cross a threshold and they're done and they just
Right.
can't recover. So I'm wondering if Rodgers is sticking it to his team or he's done. And I'm looking at the Lions. They're probably afraid of that new coach because they really put it up an effort. So I'm gonna go one more week with Green Bay, and I'm gonna pick Green Bay to put it back together. But this is my most nervous pick. If this happens again like it was last week, no more Green Bay.
Do you think he's trying to get them to trade him if he just starts sabotaging games?
It might be he doesn't care. He just wants us to get him back. I don't know.
I think eventually he plays better football. I can't see this happening for more than last week.
I literally, when I was watching him play, I was like, is he doing this on purpose? It was that bad. And then he definitely looked disinterested in the pace. So that's how we used to, that was like when we used to scout high school football teams, we always wanted to look at the quarterback. And so we would have a scout go down on the sideline, get up close to him and just assess. He looked poised, looked like he was into it. You know, that was always a big consideration. If your quarterback's not into it, if your leader, the man who's got the ball in his hands most of the time, you know, if he's not into it, you got no chance.
Sure. Yeah.
So that might be where Green Bay's at. And Detroit wins this, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Green Bay because they have more talent than the Lions do. But this might be the last week I pick Green Bay. Well, Dan, thanks for being with us again one more time. We're going to talk to Justin and get his picks. So far, he's the leader of us all. And what a great...
I'm the bottom dweller.
Well, this week, we're all going to recover. I think a lot of these picks are pretty safe this week. I don't think it's going to be as wacky as last week. It's always hard to figure how teams are because, you know, the Eagles looked horrible in preseason.
Sure.
But they looked totally different their first week. They looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was almost like they were faking it in the preseason. But yeah, no, every report came out that they weren't sure about Hurts and they weren't going to name him the starter. And I had very little confidence that they would come out, and they looked fantastic.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yeah, I look for this to be Recovery Sunday.
Yes, back to normal.
Thanks for being with us, Dan.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye. Na 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 na. Chiefs are 1-0. What a game that was, Justin. You probably didn't get a chance to watch it though, did you?
No, I did listen to up through the third quarter.
Well, you heard all the bad parts. It was not pretty until the fourth quarter.
The Chiefs got some things going in the third quarter.
They did, yeah. So in our picks, just for the subscribers, Justin, you're the winner of week 1, 9-7. I was 8-8, and Dan was 7-9. Dan and I would have been better off flipping a coin. I think we would have had a better record. It was a wacky week. This week we're calling it Recovery Sunday.
Yeah.
Let's take the games in order. Thursday night on the NFL Network, we have the New York Giants at the Washington football team.
Okay, so the Giants, they got beat by Denver. They had some turnover problems. Saquon Barkley did not get going. I'm going to take Washington in this game. Washington lost 2, but they played a very tough opponent in the Chargers. And Washington had a lot of bright spots. I think Washington's going to win this game.
It's a game for first place. Everybody in that division's 0-1.
Yeah.
Barkley only had 26 yards, I think, in the first week. But he'll get healthier as time goes on, hopefully. Next game is a 12 o'clock CBS game. New England Patriots at the New York Jets.
Yeah, I had to think about this one because I really don't have confidence in New England, especially after they lost to Miami. But I also lost confidence in the Jets because they gave up 6 sacks, and that's not gonna be very good.
Yeah, plus they lost their left tackle in Becton. He's going to be out for the year, I think.
Yeah, the Jets, Zach Wilson does seem good, but they've got a lot to work on still. So I don't like New England, but I'm gonna have to pick New England for this week.
Yep, they also lost their left tackle and Trent Brown. I don't know how long he'll be out. Next game is Denver Broncos at the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a CBS 12 o'clock game.
Okay, so Denver, I think they're gonna win this game. Jacksonville looked awful and pretty much not even ready to play football in the NFL season. I was really sad that I picked them last week after seeing them play.
It's hard for college coaches to transition from the college game to a completely different game, the pro game. And there's going to be some growing pains in Jacksonville. So you've got Denver. The next game is the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. That's on Fox, 12 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Miami looked pretty strong against New England there. Tua just kind of did barely enough, but they did good. And as I expected, their veterancy would come through. And it did. Buffalo, they looked a little out of sync. They had a close game, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, with the Steelers.
With the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What didn't the Steelers? They just barely won because of a special teams thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
They won.
So I feel like the Buffalo team, they're probably only going to get better from last week. I'm going to have to pick Buffalo in this game.
All right, I was very impressed by their tackling, as I mentioned to Dan, and physicality. Dan and I both picked Buffalo. So far, all of our picks are the same. We have the next game is San Francisco at Philadelphia.
Okay, so I wasn't expecting much from Philadelphia last week, but boy, was I wrong. They completely clicked on offense. It turns out their offensive line being bad last year did not really matter this first game because Jalen Hurts and Saunders and the new receiver they've got, they all seem to work real well together. And the Philly defensive line still seems as strong as they were last year. So I'm going to take Philly in this game. I think San Francisco gave up way too many points against Jared Goff and the Lions. And so, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay, San Francisco lost a cornerback in Jarrett. I think he's out for the year, and Mostert is out for the year. Jarrett, I'm not sure. He's not out for the year, I don't think. Mostert's out for the year. The running back, Trey Sermon, I think, will take over, or they had another one. I don't recall his name. So you're picking the Eagles.
Yeah.
That game's on Fox at noon Central Time. Next one is a Fox game at noon Central Time. Los Angeles Chargers.
So Rams at Indianapolis. I'm taking the Rams. They had a strong first week of the season. Matt Stafford looks like he's going to be taken off with his new team. And Indianapolis, they just kind of got beat down by Seattle, and I kind of expect that to happen again this week. The NFC West is kind of stacked this year. They're going to be a a very, very good division. They might be all four of those teams might be over 500 this year.
I would not be shocked to see an all Los Angeles Super Bowl. I don't think the chances of that are high, but not impossible. Both the Rams and Chargers are pretty good. Next game is a 12 o'clock CBS game, Las Vegas at Pittsburgh.
Okay, I had to study this one because my first impression was I should probably take Pittsburgh for their defense. But after kind of looking more closely at what happened in the week 1 games that those teams played, I'm going to take Las Vegas in this game. I think Darren Waller is really a great tight end. He's almost on par with Kelsey. And Pittsburgh, they barely beat Buffalo and only beat them because of that special teams blocked punt. And Buffalo's offense was not clicking at all. And Las Vegas has a clicking offense. So I'm going to take the Raiders in this week.
I think you're in agreement with Dan. I took Pittsburgh. I thinking kind of wildly that Las Vegas will have a letdown after a very emotional game and exciting game in week 1. Next game.
That's very possible. Las Vegas, the Raiders do kind of do things like that from time to time.
Cincinnati Bengals at the Chicago Bears. That's on Fox at noon.
Okay. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. So Joe Burrow and his new receiver looked pretty good in the first week. Chicago could not get their run game going, and I don't see that happening against the Cincy defensive line again this week. So Chicago's not going to win this.
Yeah, I don't think Chicago is going to win until they turn it over to Justin Fields because their offensive line, they just can't block anybody. All right, we've got next game is Houston, Texans, another 12 o'clock Sunday game at the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, so Houston surprised me last week quite a bit. I didn't realize they had picked up Brandon Cooks. I'm not sure when that happened, but he made some spectacular catches. Cleveland, I think they're going to come out on top this week against Houston. Jacksonville was not really ready to play, and I think that's mainly the reason why Houston won as much as they did. I think Houston's going to come up a little short this week against Cleveland.
Okay, news on New Orleans, and Dan and I made our picks before we knew this. I'm not sure it's going to affect anything, but the next game is New Orleans at Carolina, another Sunday noon. I don't know if you heard the news, but they have 8 COVID positives, but none of the roster. There's 6 coaches and a nutritionist have COVID, and Michael Thomas, who's on injured reserve list, he tested positive for COVID. So how will New Orleans do without their coaching this week? They'll find some way to involve the coaches, but no, it's at this point it's a little doubtful they're going to be on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's an interesting development.
They were all vaccinated, so if they get a positive and then 24 hours, a negative test, and then 24 hours goes by, another negative test, then they can be on the sideline. They'd have to get that first negative, by Saturday morning.
Yes. Well, okay, so I guess since mostly it's not their starters, I'm still going to go with my gut on this one. I'm picking New Orleans because they really have a well-balanced team. They've got great running back in Kamara. They've got a great defensive line. They've got a great offensive line. And the passing game last week for them absolutely took off. Now, Carolina might have a little bit better of a secondary than Green Bay, but I think New Orleans is going to win this game.
Yeah, that was a special day with Jameis Winston, 148 yards only, but 5 touchdowns. That's kind of a rare moment in NFL history. All right, the next game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Arizona Cardinals. That's the first 3 o'clock game. It's on Fox.
Yeah, so when I look at Minnesota, I think mainly about Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen, and Cousins is just kind of a solid, steady presence. Like, he's not going to do anything massively spectacular, but he will be smart and be good enough. So then I look at what Arizona did last week, and they completely shut down Derrick Henry, and they basically made Ryan Tannehill look like a fool. And their offense is with DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, they just went off. I didn't expect that much out of the Arizona offense. They surprised me last week. So, and in week 1, Minnesota, they could not get their running game going. And I don't see that happening against the Arizona defense either. So I'm going to take Arizona in this game.
Okay, Chandler Jones, had 5 sacks in that game for Arizona last week. Next game is the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3 o'clock on Fox.
Okay, this is Tampa Bay. I don't think I need to explain much about that.
Move on, Tampa Bay all the way. All right, Tennessee at Seattle, 3:25 on CBS.
Okay, Seattle, similar to last week, I'm going to just give my reason as Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf. They're going to win.
We got next game is Dallas at Los Angeles Chargers, 3:25 on CBS.
Now, this is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
I think Dallas surprised the nation last week. And really, in my opinion, I think Dallas should have won that game. There's another classic case of the referees handing Tom Brady the game, as Goodwin was blatantly caught on film shoving the defender down to the turf prior to catching the pass. And it was a crucial 4th quarter play that just so happened to lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to victory. So Dak Prescott, he went off, and that surprised me. He really had great he was just really on the same page with his receivers.
Yeah, a lot of accuracy. There were a couple balls he underthrew that makes you wonder about his arm strength a little bit, but he had a great day. You're right.
Yeah, and it's impressive that it was mainly him, because Ezekiel Elliott didn't really do much in that game.
He did block and protect his quarterback pretty well. I will note that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is important as well. So yeah, I had to really think about this one. I'm gonna take the Chargers. I think the Chargers defense is gonna be a little bit more tight. I think Washington, honestly, I think Washington has a better defense than Dallas. And that was a statement that the Chargers beat that Washington defense last week.
Mhm.
So I feel bad for not picking them last week. So I'm going to pick them this week. The Chargers are going to win.
And then 7:20 on NBC, the Sunday night game, Kansas City Chiefs at Baltimore.
Well, we've seen this story before. Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, clutch plays. Lamar Jackson, he's probably going to put on a nice performance, but come third, fourth quarter, he's probably going to make a mistake somewhere, and it's going to cost him the game, and Patrick Mahomes is going to win. Chiefs are going to win.
All right, Monday night game is the Detroit Lions at the who knows what they are, Green Bay Packers. Who are you? Who are you? The Green Bay.
Yeah, so when I first saw this matchup, I was like, well, it's got to be the Packers. But after looking more closely into the situation, I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions this week. I think that there's something going on with Aaron Rodgers. Like, he just does not care. And I think in a few weeks, it's going to blow up and it's going to be big. And there's going to be this big controversy in Green Bay. But I think it's already started, and Rodgers just doesn't care. So Detroit's going to win. They shouldn't win, but they're going to win.
That's what I am very jealous. I want to say the same thing. I said I'm going to pick Green Bay one more week. Yes, Aaron Rodgers looks disinterested. He may be trying to screw the organization out because he didn't get what he wanted. But I'm going to go with Green Bay one more week. You have nerve, and you will probably win.
Well, it'll be interesting to find out. I mean, this is just something you kind of have to go with your gut on.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We got your picks in, and we'll put the video up tomorrow morning. And thanks for joining us once again, Justin. Have a good day.
You too.